Lovemaking.com, the network for melanated
Family,
people
this is
like
Lioness
you.
Crown.
So we're going to talk about Biden, President Joe Crime Bill Biden's plan to roll out the jab for 5 to 11-year-olds. Okay, we know what's going on right now. We know that children are getting sick. We know that they're being sent home from school. We know that they were actually planning that some of these companies were actually planning and testing to do this jab thing for children. So, they had already lowered it down to like age 12, age 11, so well, age 12. And so now there is a plan that we talked about. I think it was last month, if not the month before. We talked about it in the Lioness Den about this administration's plan to roll this out, and the plan for these companies testing this on these babies. As you can see, there appears to be a black mother and two black girls. Both they appear to be under the age of 11. The little baby right here, she looks like she's about 3 or 4. All right. Uh, but I mean, maybe she's 5. I don't know. But we also have read and have talked about in the Lioness Den, like they are trying to develop something also for babies and children under the age of 5. So this is what we are dealing with. Yep. This is what we're dealing with today in 2021. Now, I don't know if y'all saw yesterday's broadcast. We talked about how these mad scientists were able to perform a quote unquote successful kidney transplant using the kidney of a swine. Okay, pig kidneys, right? The human body did not reject it in this study. They said went successfully. They had genetically modified this pig so that the tissues and the organs, when inserted into the human body, would not cause the human body to reject it. Okay, and because that one went well, like their plan is to use that genetically modified pig or whatever the hell it is to use more of its body parts to implant into human beings. And they said everything from kidneys to heart valves to skin grafts. Okay, now I'm telling y'all, this stuff gets more and more bizarre every day. However, with the topic at hand today about Biden's plan to unroll out the jab for 5 to 11-year-olds, this is not anything that should take any subscriber to Fly Nubian Queen, and especially the Lioness Den, by surprise. We have been talking about this. We have been talking about this and their plans in order to jab up children. So I want to remind you all to hit the like button and share this broadcast. We will not be in here long, but we did want to bring this update up. Okay, before there was just not speculation, but there were talks of plans from these pharmaceutical companies coming up with a particular medication for this procedure for children as young as 5 and even younger than 5. And now the Biden administration expressly rolled out their plans for this, right? They are trying to institute this. So we're curious, who's in support of this madness? Y'all can let us know in the chat. Let me go ahead and do the copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofits, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of their fair use. Now, there are several articles about this that came out. I saw them like around the 20th of October. All right. So there's one from the Washington Post, but we'll just like go to CNN because it seems to be, updated quite often. So we're going to read from CNN really quickly, and we are definitely going to get your feedback and let us know what y'all think about this stuff. Thank you, Candace. Yeah, I just, final days, the final days. So let me go ahead and make this bigger. And I also want to remind y'all, be sure to go over to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. And join us for the 6th annual All Black National Convention next week in Orlando. And if you want to join us virtually, you can go over there as well to get your tickets, allblacknationalconvention.com. All right, let's check this out. According to CNN.com, it says White House details plan to roll out C19 Vs for children ages 5 to 11. Okay, ages 5 to 11. And just so we're clear, this is the headline from CNN that we're reading from. I'm going to flash that up on the screen just so that we are straight with that. All right. White House details plan to roll out COVID-19 vaccines for children ages 5 to 11, written by Jeremy Diamond, Caitlin Collins, and Kate Sullivan. All right, from CNN. It was updated actually on Wednesday, which was yesterday, October the 20th at 10:13 p.m. So this was updated as late as last evening. It says the White House on Wednesday unveiled its plans to roll out COVID-19 vaccines for children ages 5 to 11, pending U.S. Food and Drug Administration authorization. So the FDA still has to approve this stuff, y'all. Let's just make that clear. It says the Biden administration has secured enough vaccine supply to via the 28 million children ages 5 to 11 who would become eligible for V if the V is authorized for that age group, and will help equip more than 25,000 pediatric and primary care offices, hundreds of community health centers, and rural health clinics, as well as tens of thousands of pharmacies to administer the shots, according to the White House. So this was a bit of a mouthful. That was one paragraph, and that one paragraph was one sentence. I'm going to read it again. So just so we're clear, the FDA has not approved this thing for children ages 5 to 11, but Biden already has a plan to roll out a V as soon as the U.S. Food and Drug Administration authorizes it. So he's not even waiting to see if the FDA is going to approve it or not. He's going ahead and saying, you know what? We're going to have a plan in place, and this is our plan to unveil this thing out to babies ages 5 to 11. We are absolutely, Jocelyn, absolutely. I'm going to read this again. It says the Biden administration has secured enough vaccine supply to vaccinate the 28 million children ages 5 to 11 who would become eligible for vaccination if the vaccine is authorized for that age group, and will help equip more than 25,000 pediatric and primary care offices, hundreds of community health centers and rural clinics, as well as tens of thousands of pharmacies to administer the shots, according to the White House. It says, quote, and I'm reading directly from CNN.com, okay, and I cited fair use. I'm reading what the news says. I'm reporting on the news. Quote, we know millions of parents have been waiting for C19V for kids in this age group, and should the FDA and U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention authorize the vaccine, we will be ready to get shots in arms, end quote. White House C19 response director Jeff Zients told reporters at a White House C19 briefing yesterday, Wednesday. It says Zients continued, quote, kids have different needs than adults, and our operational planning is geared to meet those specific needs, including by offering Vs in settings that parents and kids are familiar with and trust. The administration is also launching a partnership with the Children's Hospital Association to, quote, work with over 100 children's hospital systems across the country to set up V sites in November and throughout the end of the calendar year, end quote. It says the White House announced. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? B1 woke fruit. Listen, we don't know what is going to happen, but we know that this is not cool. Well, I don't think it's cool. These are little children. We have questions. What are the long-term effects? Where's the research? Where's the data? And have there been enough studies or enough time, especially for something that continues to mutate and have mad variants? Like what? The heezy. Listen. It says the administration also plans to help make V available at school and other community-based sites with the help from Federal Emergency Management Agency funding. That is FEMA. So they want to use FEMA funding to bring this to your child's school. And this is a direct quote from the article. I do apologize if y'all hear stuff outside. What is that? That's the garbage truck. It says the administration also plans to help make a make blank available at school and other community-based sites with help from FEMA. Kareem, it is absolutely disgusting. Yep. And Anjo, it's been time for homeschooling. Absolutely. It's a no for Key Camp. Candace Leo shaking her head. Listen, look, y'all see what's on the thing. So guess what? Again, this is what we practice, and we talk about things such as like counter war, getting in front of these narratives, and also not being taken by surprise. So you're not in a state of shock and awe when something happens, or there's a new policy that you feel like you don't agree with, or that you find to be really egregious or disgusting or inequitable or whatever. The point of today's content is to make the family aware in terms of what the White House's plan is to roll this thing out, right? They have a plan to roll this thing out before it's even been approved by the FDA. And so I would suspect that it would be, or will be, maybe even very shortly, approved by the FDA. And when it does, it's important that we don't get bent out of shape or taken off guard or just surprised, right? You know what's up. So you have more information to make more informed decisions. That is why we come into the Lioness Den, and we're here weekdays normally at 12 p.m. Eastern time. FlyNubianQueenTV.com. Be sure to text the word Queens to 31996. That's Queens with an S to 31996. That way you'll be notified when we do go live on the platform. Now it says the Department of Health and Human Services will also carry out a national public education campaign, quote, to reach parents and guardians with accurate and culturally responsive information about the V and the risk that C19 poses to children. So culturally responsive means like, I do work around culturally responsiveness. I use that term like almost every day, especially, in the work that I do in education. And what I want to say is that, like, I'm going to put this quote on the screen for a reason, and we're going to unpack it a little bit. We're going to unpack this a little bit. It says the Department of Health and Human Services will also carry out a national public education campaign. That means there's going to be a lot of money. There's going to be advertising with this. This is a campaign. So it's going to be a level of like promotional materials, like I said, ads and things to really get parents on board with this thing, right? So there's going to be a whole propaganda apparatus in order for them to get their point across and encourage parents or convince parents to get this thing for their children. And it says there's going to be a national public education campaign, quote, to reach parents and guardians with accurate and culturally responsive information about the V and the risk of C19 and the risk that C19 poses to children. So that means that they're going to send a whole bunch of Black folk or Black people, who appear to be Black, melanated people, into Black communities, into our schools, into your children's schools, into the hospitals, into community-based centers. They're going to hire a bunch of people that look like us, that's going to come in and try to convince us that this is safe and this is something that needs to happen. And so there's going to be culturally responsive information about the V. Information about the V is either facts or it's not facts, right? That's the only information that needs to be out there. But they said that they want to reach out to parents and guardians with accurate and culturally responsive information. To me, that lets me know that they will probably do all types of things to sort of pander to Black people in their messaging. I wouldn't be surprised if they make a rap or like some type of little hip hop song or something, especially geared towards children, that maybe want children to ask about it or to get it. I wouldn't be surprised if a part of that public education campaign includes celebrities giving their endorsements and encouraging parents to, get this thing for their children ages 5 through 11 in the event and when it does become approved by the FDA. So when I hear culturally responsive information about the V and C19, I'm thinking about a whole bunch of pandering tactics and Jedi mind tricks to really convince people to get this thing in the arms of their babies, our babies, right? It says V of, and I'm reading back from CNN.com, the same article. Y'all hit the like button and share this broadcast. It says V advisors to the FDA are scheduled to meet next week to consider Pfizer's request to authorize its vaccine to children ages 5 to 11. So this could come as early as next week. And let me tell y'all something. You know, government, everything that they do is intentional. And so the fact that Biden has already unveiled this, like, oh, this is what my plan is going to be to get this into the arms of children before it has been approved by the FDA, makes me think or believe that there are already conversations, like maybe an unofficial like approval or an expectation of an approval. And the fact that this is in the media right now, and Biden has already, his White House is already and task force has already made public statements about this specific plan, lets us know, gives us a clue that an approval, at least from Pfizer, right, may be coming as early as next week. And the article is saying it. It says V advisors to the FDA are scheduled to meet next week to consider Pfizer's request to authorize its vaccine to children ages 5 to 11. Well, next week is really soon, because guess what? Today is Thursday. Next week is only a few days away. So I wouldn't be surprised by by Monday or Tuesday, there is like more information, or even still maybe by the end of next week, definitely maybe by the week after, I suspect, an approval, at least from Pfizer. And then the other companies would, are seeking the same thing. And we went into extreme detail about that the first time we covered their plans to get this thing in the arms of babies. This is not the first time we've covered this content, right? This story in the Lioness Den. It was just at an earlier stage. Now it's no more speculation. Now this is like, it's real, because there's a White House policy to back it up, and a whole plan. Right? So it says, if authorized, this would be the first C19 vaccine for younger children. The Pfizer BioNTech vaccine is currently approved for people age 16 and older, and has emergency authorization for children ages 12 to 15. So Pfizer seems to be leading the charge with this stuff, right? It says Pfizer said last month that phase 2/3 trial showed its C19 vaccine was safe and generated a robust antibody response in children ages 5 to 11. The trial included only 2,268 participants ages 5 to 11, and 2 doses of the vaccine administered 21 days apart. This trial used a 10 microgram dose, smaller than the 30 microgram dose that has been used for those 12 and older. It says immune responses were measured by looking at neutral antibody levels in their blood and comparing those levels to a control group of 16 to 25-year-olds who were then given a 2-dose regimen with their larger 30 microgram dose. Pfizer said the levels compared well with older people who received the larger dose, demonstrating a, quote, strong immune response in this cohort of children 1 month after the second dose, end quote. Let's be clear that they only tested 2,268 children ages 5 to 11 and gave them 2 doses of the V 21 days apart. Do y'all think that is sufficient amount of data or research or trials in order to come up with a whole national policy that the White House is ready to launch as soon as this stuff gets approved by the FDA? Do y'all think that a trial of only 2,268 child participants ages 5 to 11, and let me repeat, who got 2 doses of the V that was administered 21 days apart, do y'all think that's sufficient? Do y'all think that's sufficient data and research to launch onto 28 million children in the country? Huh? Did they say it was 28 million kids in the country? I thought I got 28 million somewhere in this article. Y'all can go back and rewind it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Listen. This is what we're dealing with, right? Now, of course, they named Fauci later on. This article goes on and on. It says U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy said on NBC's Today. Oh, no, let me go back up. Look, this is just a lot of stuff. It says immune responses were measured by looking at neutralizing antibody levels in their blood and comparing those levels to a control group, ages 16 to 25-year-olds who were given a 2-dose regimen with their 30 microgram dose. Pfizer said the levels compared well with older people who received the larger dose, demonstrating a, quote, strong immune response in the cohort of children 1 month after the second dose. It says U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy said on NBC's Today on Wednesday that U.S. health officials want to be prepared for children to be able to get Vs as soon as they can. He said the administration has been working for the last several weeks to months to prepare for the decision from the FDA and CDC. It says these preparations include ensuring there is enough supply for every child in the 5 to 11-year-old age range, making sure there are tens of thousands of locations where people can get the Vs, and making sure that parents have answers to their questions and accurate scientific information that can be used in decision making, Murthy said. He said that ensuring that parents had the answers to their questions was really important, and they have been working hard with doctors, nurses, teachers, parents, and other community organizations to make sure that people can get the answers to their questions from trusted sources. It says Dr. Anthony Fauci, President Joe Biden's chief medical advisor and director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, that bastard. Oh, it didn't say that. It says Dr. Anthony Fauci, President Joe Biden's chief medical advisor and director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, said getting kids V'd can help ensure the safety of their entire family during an interview with CNN's Chris Cuomo on primetime Wednesday evening. That was last night. Count Fauci recognized, quote, parents have valid questions that need to be answered, end quote, about V'ing up their children. Quote, it's up to us to be very transparent with them and to give them the correct answers to the questions they ask, end quote. He continued, quote, I think if we do that, I hope that the vast majority of parents will realize the real benefit for their children to get the jab. It says to get vaccinated, end quote. That's what Fauci said. It said as of Wednesday morning, 56.7% of the total U.S. population, or about 188 million people, has been fully V'd up. At the same time, 23.2% of the eligible population, or about 66 million people, is not V'd up. I don't know about these numbers, but okay. I'm gonna just quote this right quick so y'all can look at these stats. This is what they're reporting on. I'm just reporting on the news. CNN.com. It says an average of 240,749 people are initiating the V process each day, according to the CDC. This is a 13% decrease from last week and a 28% drop from a month earlier. So less and less people, they are saying, are initiating the process of getting V'd up, according to them. Right? Yeah, numbers are definitely trick bags. It says the Delta variant of C19, which is more transmissible and may cause more severe illness than previous strains, has ripped through parts of the country with low V rates for months, though cases have decreased in recent weeks. Biden and health officials have repeatedly pleaded with unV'd Americans to get the shot so they can protect themselves and those around them, but many still refuse. To that I say, oh well, the article goes on. If y'all want to read it, feel free, knock yourself out. I pretty much had enough. And I got other constructive things to do today. Then fret over Babylon's plan to jab up babies at this point. Babies. This is what we're dealing with. We got babies getting this thing. We got pig kidneys being implanted in humans. We got look, I'm not even going to go down a list of dysfunctional, evil, and abominations coming out of the belly of the beast. I'm not going to go there. But y'all get the point. I want to thank y'all for tuning into the Lioness Den today. Remember, get your tickets to the allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. We will see you all next week, October the 29th through November the 1st in Orlando, or join us virtually, allblacknationalconvention.com. This broadcast is ending, but so is global racism and white supremacy. We will trample this beast through fortitude, preparedness, and collectivism. And always remember that they stole us, they sold us, so they owe us. Until next time, family, peace and Black power.